Last month's mass shooting in Toronto has spurred calls over a ban on handgun sales in the city. The idea is based on the premise that about half the guns used in crime were bought legally in Canada, but where does that figure come from? As Evan Dyer discovered, no one in government seems to know for sure, and there appears to be little effort to find out.
When we look at our research, it's clear to us that 50% of the firearms that are used for crimes are domestic.
Police still haven't revealed the origin of the gun used in the Danforth shooting, but the Trudeau government and some police forces have said they're seeing more guns sourced in Canada. Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale says thefts of legal guns are on the rise.
Mayor Greg Dion of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, who is concerned that insufficient commercial storage rules allowed a thief in that city to snip one cable and steal 24 handguns from a local gun shop.
Statistics do back up the idea that police are filing more charges of break and enter to steal firearms. But when it comes to national statistics on how many Canadian handguns are being used in crime, there aren't any. Currently, there is no national repository for this type of information in Canada, the RCMP told CBC.
Police often are short-staffed and have limited resources. They're working on solving a murder investigation. Focusing on tracing the source of the firearm may or may not be viewed as critical to prosecuting that particular crime. And so typically, tracing firearms has not been a top priority of police agencies across the country.
Local numbers are available in some places. For example, Ottawa police told CBC that 77% of handguns seized in Ontario were traced to smuggling from the U.S.
But even where statistics exist, the definitions used by law enforcement can make it hard to understand what's really going on. For example, the RCMP count as a crime gun any gun that's abandoned or found or illegally acquired or modified. And Statistics Canada counts as a firearm-related violent offence any crime that's committed in a place where a gun is present, regardless of whether the gun is actually used in that crime.
And so, Evan, let's go back to that 50% number that the police chief in Toronto cited in the wake of all of the street shootings we've seen.
I think there's a question about the usefulness of the numbers, because definitions like the crime gun definition tend to mix up violent criminals who are using guns to harm people with lawful owners who commit offences like improper storage or have expired licenses and so on, and can even capture guns that belong to lawful owners who died and then whose guns are handed in by someone else. So gun rights advocates say that they tend to inflate the impression of the role of Canadian guns in crime.
I would like to see the Minister of Public Safety order the RCMP to properly trace all these firearms that are being categorized as crime guns, so that we know which ones are coming from licensed firearms owners and which ones are coming from the United States or China or Poland or any other country that's smuggling guns into Canada.
So while governments are debating changes to Canada's gun laws, there's really a lack of solid data, Ian, for them to go on, and there's no national effort underway to collect any.
All right, Evan, thank you.
Thanks very much.